Philippine Criminology Licensure Examination. Subject: Law Enforcement Administration. Question number 1. The primary law that reorganized the Philippine National Police and established its mandate under the Department of the Interior and Local Government, DILG, is A. Republic Act No. 6975. B. Republic Act No. 8551. C. Republic Act No. 9708. D. Republic Act No. 7438. Correct answer: A. Republic Act No. 6975. Why A is correct. Republic Act No. 6975, known as the Department of the Interior and Local Government Act of 1990, established the Philippine National Police, PNP, as an agency under the DILG. It reorganized the former Philippine Constabulary Integrated National Police, PCINP, into the PNP, defining its powers, functions, and organizational structure. This is the foundational law of the PNP's creation. Why the others are wrong. B. Republic Act No. 8551. This is the PNP Reform and Reorganization Act of 1998, which amended RA 6975. It refined PNP operations but did not originally establish the PNP. See Republic Act No. 9708. This law extended the retroactive application of RA 8551 on certain PNP personnel matters. It is an amendatory law, not the founding statute. D. Republic Act No. 7438. This law defines the rights of persons arrested, detained, or under custodial investigation. It is not a PNP organizational law. Edge knowledge. Establish, create, reorganize PNP equals RA 6975. Reform, amend PNP equals RA 8551. Memorize these two as a pair. Question number 2. Under the PNP organizational structure, which unit is directly responsible for the formulation of major policies and programs of the PNP? A. Directorial Staff. B. National Headquarters. C. Command Group. D. Administrative Support Units. Correct answer: C. Command Group. Why C is correct. The command group of the PNP, which consists of the Chief PNP, Deputy Chief for Administration, and Deputy Chief for Operations, is the highest decision-making body responsible for formulating major policies and programs. It provides command, direction, and supervision over all units of the PNP. It is the apex of the PNP's organizational hierarchy. Why the others are wrong. A. Directorial Staff. The Directorial Staff advises and assists the command group in policy formulation but does not hold decision-making authority on its own. They are staff officers, not commanders. B. National Headquarters. The National Headquarters is the overall administrative location of the PNP leadership. It is a structural concept, not a functional policy-making body in itself. D. Administrative Support Units. These units provide logistical, financial, and administrative support to the PNP. They are service units, not policy-making bodies. Edge knowledge. Who makes PNP policy? Look for the top-level group. That is always the command group, chief plus deputies. Question number 3. The concept in law enforcement administration that refers to the right of a police officer to make decisions and take actions within the scope of his authority is called A. Police discretion. B. Police power. C. Command responsibility. D. Span of control. Correct answer: A. Police discretion. Why A is correct. Police discretion is the authority vested in a police officer to make independent judgments and decisions, such as whether to arrest, warn, or investigate, within the bounds of law and department policy. It acknowledges that police cannot apply rigid rules to every situation and must exercise professional judgment. Discretion is a cornerstone concept in law enforcement administration. Why the others are wrong. B. Police power. Police power is the inherent power of the state to enact laws and regulations to promote public order, safety, health, morals, and the general welfare. It is a constitutional concept, not a personal officer authority. C. Command responsibility. This refers to the liability of a superior officer for the unlawful acts of subordinates when the superior knew or should have known about them. It is about accountability, not decision-making authority. D. Span of control. This is an organizational principle referring to the number of subordinates a supervisor can effectively manage. It is a management concept, not an individual officer's authority. Edge knowledge. Right of an officer to decide, take action equals discretion. Number of subordinates supervised equals span of control. Liability of superior equals command responsibility. Question number 4. PO1 Reyes is newly assigned to a police station. His supervisor assigns him a specific set of duties and grants him authority to carry them out. This management principle is known as a unity of command. B. Delegation of authority. C. Scalar chain. D. Division of labor. Correct answer. B. Delegation of authority. Why B is correct? Delegation of authority is the management process by which a superior transfers a portion of his authority and assigns specific duties to a subordinate, along with the responsibility for accomplishing those duties. In this scenario, the supervisor is assigning duties and granting PO1 Reyes the authority to perform them, a textbook case of delegation. Why the others are wrong? A unity of command. This principle states that a subordinate should receive orders from only one superior at a time. The scenario does not describe a reporting structure conflict, it describes a transfer of authority. C. Scalar chain. This refers to the formal chain of authority from top to bottom of the organization, hierarchy of ranks. It describes the structure, not an act of assigning duties. D. Division of labor. This refers to breaking down tasks into specialized roles for efficiency. It is a structural concept, not the act of a supervisor granting authority to a specific individual. Edge knowledge. When a question describes a supervisor giving duties plus authority to a subordinate, the answer is almost always delegation of authority. Question number 5. Which of the following best describes unity of command as applied in Philippine police organizations? A. All units in the organization must work toward one common goal. B. A subordinate should receive orders from only one superior at a time. C. A police officer must obey all lawful orders of his supervisors. D. The chain of command must never be bypassed under any circumstances. Correct answer. B. A subordinate should receive orders from only one superior at a time. Why B is correct? Unity of command is a classical management principle that holds that each subordinate should be accountable to only one supervisor to avoid confusion, conflicting orders, and divided loyalty. In a police organization, this ensures clear lines of authority and accountability, which are essential for effective operations. Why the others are wrong? A. All units work toward one common goal. This describes the concept of unity of direction, or organizational cohesion, not unity of command. Unity of direction means one plan for one set of activities. C. A police officer must obey all lawful orders. This describes the principle of obedience to authority or the duty of a subordinate, not the structural concept of unity of command. D. The chain of command must never be bypassed. This more closely describes the scalar chain or chain of command principle, not unity of command. Edge knowledge. Unity of command equals one subordinate, one boss. If the option says one superior or single commander, that is your answer. Question number 6. The PNP's community-oriented policing strategy that emphasizes partnership between the police and the community to address the root causes of crime is called A. COPS, Community-Oriented Policing System, B. Patrol Plan 2030. C. Task Force Integrity. D. Oplan Lambat Sabat. Correct answer. A. COPS, Community-Oriented Policing System. Why A is correct? The Community-Oriented Policing System, COPS, is the PNP's framework for building police-community partnerships. It shifts policing from a purely reactive approach to a proactive, problem-solving strategy where police and citizens collaborate to identify and address the underlying social conditions that lead to crime. It is the operational backbone of community policing in the Philippines. Why the others are wrong. B. Patrol Plan 2030, Patrol, Peace and Order Agenda for Transformation and Upholding the Rule of Law, is the PNP's long-term development plan and roadmap for professionalization. It is a reform agenda, not a community policing strategy per se. C. Task Force Integrity. This is an internal affairs mechanism aimed at investigating and weeding out corrupt or erring police officers. It is an internal policing tool, not a community-oriented strategy. D. Oplan Lambat Sabat. This is an operational plan by the PNP focused on the neutralization of drug syndicates and criminal organizations. It is an anti-crime campaign, not a community partnership program. Edge Knowledge. Police plus community partnership plus root causes of crime equals cops. This is the standard community policing answer in PNP context. Question number 7. Under RA 8551, which body was created to conduct annual licensure examinations for applicants to the PNP and administer the entrance examination for the Philippine National Police Academy, PNPA? A. Civil Service Commission, CSC, B. National Police Commission, NAPOLCOM, C. Philippine Public Safety College, PPSC, D. Commission on Higher Education, CHED. Correct answer. B. National Police Commission, NAPOLCOM. Why B is correct. The National Police Commission, NAPOLCOM, is the agency mandated by law to administer and control the PNP. Among its powers and functions under RA 8551 is to conduct annual licensure examinations for police applicants and the entrance examination for the PNPA. NAPOLCOM also handles promotions and administrative cases of PNP personnel. Why the others are wrong. A. Civil Service Commission, CSC. The CSC administers civil service examinations for government employees in general. While PNP personnel are subject to civil service laws, the CSC does not administer PNP-specific licensing exams. C. Philippine Public Safety College, PPSC. The PPSC is the premier educational institution for the PNP, Bureau of Fire Protection, and Bureau of Jail Management and Penology. It handles training and education, not licensure examinations. D. Commission on Higher Education, CHED. CHED supervises tertiary education in the Philippines. It has no direct role in PNP licensing or PNPA entrance examinations. Edge Knowledge. For anything involving PNP examinations, promotions, and administrative oversight equals NAPOLCOM. NAPOLCOM is the watchdog of the PNP. Question number 8. The principle in police administration that states the higher the rank, the greater the responsibility and accountability is an application of which concept? A. Span of control. B. Scalar chain, hierarchy of authority. C. Command responsibility. D. Peter principle. Correct answer. B. Scalar chain, hierarchy of authority. Why B is correct. The scalar chain or hierarchy of authority is the vertical line of authority from the highest to the lowest rank in an organization. Under this principle, higher-ranking officers carry correspondingly greater responsibility, accountability, and decision-making authority. It establishes the rank ladder in which roles, duties, and accountabilities scale upward proportionally. Why the others are wrong. A. Span of control. This refers to the number of subordinates one supervisor can effectively manage at a given time. It is about supervisory capacity, not the relationship between rank and responsibility. C. Command responsibility. While related to accountability, command responsibility specifically addresses the legal liability of a commander for the acts of subordinates. The question asks about the general principle of rank scaling responsibility, which is broader. D. Peter principle. The Peter principle is a management observation that states employees are promoted until they reach their level of incompetence. It is a critical, satirical concept, not an administrative principle of rank and accountability. Edge knowledge. Higher rank equals higher responsibility is the classic definition of scalar chain. Don't confuse it with command responsibility, which is about legal liability for subordinates' actions. Question number 9. A PNP officer who knowingly tolerates the illegal activities of his subordinates can be held liable under which doctrine? A. Doctrine of hot pursuit. B. Command responsibility. C. Doctrine of last clear chance. D. Proximate cause rule. Correct answer. B. Command responsibility. Why B is correct? Command responsibility holds that a superior officer is legally and administratively accountable for the acts of his subordinates if he knew or should have known that those acts were being committed and he failed to take preventive or corrective action. Knowingly tolerating illegal activities of subordinates is a classic scenario of command responsibility, which is recognized under Philippine law, RA 9851, and PNP internal rules. Why the others are wrong? A doctrine of hot pursuit. This is a law enforcement doctrine that allows police to continue pursuing a fleeing suspect across jurisdictional boundaries. It has nothing to do with superior subordinate accountability. C. Doctrine of last clear chance. This is a civil law concept in negligence cases, stating that the person who had the last opportunity to avoid an accident is liable. It is not applicable in administrative police law. D. Proximate cause rule. This is a legal concept in torts and criminal law determining the direct cause of an injury or outcome. It is not a doctrine of organizational accountability for a superior. Edge knowledge. Whenever the scenario involves a superior knowing about or tolerating subordinate wrongdoing, the answer is command responsibility, every time. Question number 10. Which of the following is not a qualification requirement for appointment to the PNP under RA 6975, as amended? A. Must be a Filipino citizen. B. Must be at least 21 years old but not more than 30 years old. C. Must have a degree in criminology from a recognized institution. D. Must not have been dishonorably discharged from military or police service. Correct answer. C. Must have a degree in criminology from a recognized institution. Why C is correct? Under RA 6975, as amended by RA 8551, the minimum educational qualification for PNP appointment is a bachelor's degree. It does not have to be a degree in criminology specifically. Applicants with any bachelor's degree from a duly recognized institution are eligible. Having a criminology degree is advantageous, and required for the criminology board exam, but is not the statutory requirement for PNP appointment itself. Why the others are wrong? A. Must be a Filipino citizen. This is a valid and required qualification under the law. Only Filipino citizens may be appointed to the PNP. B. Must be at least 21 but not more than 30 years old. This is a legitimate age requirement set by law for initial appointment to the PNP. D. Must not have been dishonorably discharged. This is a valid disqualification under RA 6975. Persons dishonorably discharged from military or police service are barred from appointment. Edge knowledge. The question asks what is not a requirement. A criminology degree is preferred but not exclusively required. Any bachelor's degree qualifies. Watch for not questions and check for overly specific requirements. Question number 11. The management function that involves setting objectives, identifying strategies, and outlining the steps needed to achieve organizational goals is A. Organizing. B. Directing. C. Planning. D. Controlling. Correct answer. C. Planning. Why C is correct? Planning is the first and most fundamental management function. It involves defining the organization's objectives, determining the best course of action to achieve them, and developing the specific steps, strategies, and resources required. In law enforcement administration, planning includes crime prevention programs, patrol deployment schemes, and operational plans. Why the others are wrong? A. Organizing. Organizing involves arranging and structuring the resources, human, financial, material, and tasks of the organization to achieve the plan. It comes after planning and deals with structure, not objective setting. B. Directing, also called leading, involves guiding, motivating, and supervising personnel toward the accomplishment of goals. It is about influencing people, not setting objectives. Controlling involves monitoring performance against established standards and taking corrective action when deviations occur. It comes last in the management cycle and evaluates results. Edge knowledge, POLC or POSDCORB, planning always comes first. Setting goals, objectives, strategies equals planning, no exceptions. Question number 12. In the POSDCORB model of administration, what does the letter B stand for? A. Budgeting, B. Bureaucratizing, C. Benchmarking, D. Briefing. Correct answer, A. Budgeting. Why A is correct? POSDCORB is a classical administrative model developed by Luther Gulick and Lindahl Erwick. The acronym stands for Planning, Organizing, Staffing, Directing, Coordinating, Reporting, and Budgeting. Budgeting refers to the fiscal planning function, ensuring the organization has sufficient financial resources to carry out its plans and programs. Why the others are wrong? B. Bureaucratizing. This is not a function in POSDCORB. It is not a recognized management function within this model. C. Benchmarking. Benchmarking is a quality management tool used to compare performance against standards or best practices. It is not part of POSDCORB. Debriefing. Briefing is a form of communication used in operations but is not a standalone function in the POSDCORB framework. Edge knowledge. Memorize the full acronym, POSDCORB. The B at the end is always budgeting. Think of it as the last function because you need a plan before you can budget. Question number 13. A police chief of a city police station maintains direct supervision over 5 unit commanders. This refers to which management principle? A. Unity of direction, B. Chain of command, C. Span of control, D. Delegation of authority. Correct answer, C. Span of control. Why C is correct? Span of control refers to the number of subordinates a manager or supervisor can effectively supervise. The fact that the police chief directly supervises 5 unit commanders defines the span of that chief's supervisory reach. A narrow span means fewer subordinates, more control, while a wide span means more subordinates, less direct control. Determining the right span is crucial for organizational efficiency. Why the others are wrong? A unity of direction. This means that all activities directed toward the same objective should be guided by one plan and one supervisor. It is about coherence of goals, not the number of people supervised. B. Chain of command. This refers to the formal line of authority running vertically through the organization from top to bottom. It describes structure, not the number of subordinates directly supervised. D. Delegation of authority. This refers to the act of a superior assigning duties and granting authority to a subordinate. The scenario describes a supervisory relationship, not a transfer of authority. Edge knowledge. If the question gives you a specific number of people supervised, the answer is span of control. Count the subordinates equals span. Question number 14. Under the PNP rationalized structure, which office is responsible for the internal affairs and discipline of PNP personnel? A. Inspectorate Division, B. Internal Affairs Service, IAS, C. Office for Police Concerns, OPC, D. Investigation and Detective Management Division, IDMD. Correct answer, B. Internal Affairs Service, IAS. Why B is correct? The Internal Affairs Service, IAS, of the PNP was created under RA 8551 to independently investigate complaints against PNP members. The IAS has the authority to investigate, recommend charges, and file cases against erring police officers. It serves as the PNP's primary internal oversight mechanism, operating independently from the command group to ensure impartiality. Why the others are wrong? A. Inspectorate Division. The Inspectorate handles inspection of police units for compliance with standards, regulations, and procedures. While related to discipline, it does not primarily handle complaints and investigations against personnel. C. Office for Police Concerns, OPC. This office handles community concerns and grievances related to policing, not internal disciplinary investigation of PNP members. D. Investigation and Detective Management Division, IDMD. This division oversees criminal investigations directed at crimes committed by civilians, not internal police discipline matters. Edge Knowledge, Internal Affairs, Discipline, Complaints against PNP members equals IAS. Think of IAS as the police of the police. Question number 15. The theory of police organization that emphasizes efficiency through specialization, hierarchical structure, formal rules, and impersonal relationships is called a human relations theory. B. Systems theory. C. Bureaucratic theory, Weber's model. D. Contingency theory. Correct answer. C. Bureaucratic theory, Weber's model. Why C is correct? Max Weber's bureaucratic theory describes an ideal organizational model characterized by 1. A clear hierarchy of authority, 2. Specialization and division of labor, 3. Formal rules and procedures, 4. Impersonal relationships, decisions based on rules, not personal preferences, and 5. Merit-based employment. Most traditional police organizations, including the PNP, are structurally rooted in the bureaucratic model. Why the others are wrong? A human relations theory, pioneered by Elton Mayo, Hawthorne Studies. This theory emphasizes the importance of social relationships, worker morale, and group dynamics in organizational productivity. It focuses on people, not rigid structure. B. Systems theory. This views the organization as a system of interrelated parts interacting with the environment. It focuses on inputs, processes, and outputs, not specifically on hierarchy and formal rules. D. Contingency theory. This theory holds that there is no single best way to organize. The best approach depends on the situation or environment. It is flexible and situational, the opposite of Weber's rigid model. Edge knowledge. Hierarchy plus specialization plus formal rules plus impersonal equals bureaucratic theory, Weber. These four keywords are the giveaway. Question number 16. The practice of patrol where police officers walk within a specific area on foot to maintain visible presence and deter crime is called a motorized patrol. B. Foot patrol. C. Directed patrol. D. Saturation patrol. Correct answer. B. Foot patrol. Why B is correct? Foot patrol involves police officers walking through their assigned beat area to deter crime, build community relationships, and respond to incidents. It is the oldest form of patrol and enhances police visibility in communities. Studies show that foot patrol increases citizen satisfaction and community trust, making it a cornerstone of community-oriented policing in the Philippines. Why the others are wrong? A motorized patrol. This involves officers conducting patrol using vehicles, cars, motorcycles. It covers more ground but reduces personal contact with the community compared to foot patrol. C. Directed patrol. This is a data-driven strategy where officers are deployed to specific high-crime areas during peak crime hours, based on crime pattern analysis. It is strategic, not simply a method of locomotion. D. Saturation patrol. This involves deploying a large concentration of police officers in a target area for a limited period to suppress criminal activity. It is an intensive short-term operation, not a routine patrol type. Edge knowledge. The key phrase is walk within a specific area. Walking equals foot patrol. It's the most straightforward patrol question on the board exam. Question number 17. The process by which a police organization evaluates and monitors the performance of its units and personnel against established standards and takes corrective action is A. Planning. B. Organizing. C. Controlling. D. Staffing. Correct answer. C. Controlling. Why C is correct? Controlling is the management function that involves measuring actual performance, comparing it against preset standards, identifying deviations, and implementing corrective measures. In police administration, this includes performance evaluations, operational audits, crime statistics reviews, and inspection of police units to ensure compliance with laws, policies, and directives. Why the others are wrong. A. Planning. Planning involves setting objectives and determining how to achieve them. It occurs before operations, not during monitoring of performance. B. Organizing. Organizing deals with structuring the organization, assigning tasks, and allocating resources. It is about building the structure, not evaluating its performance. D. Staffing. Staffing involves recruiting, selecting, training, assigning, and evaluating personnel. While evaluating personnel is part of it, controlling is the broader function covering all units and performance standards. Edge knowledge. Monitoring plus comparing plus correcting equals controlling. It always comes last in the management cycle because you can only control after operations have begun. Question number 18. Under Republic Act 6975, the maximum probationary period for a newly appointed PNP member before being extended a permanent appointment is A. 6 months. B. 1 year. C. 2 years. D. 3 years. Correct answer. B. 1 year. Why B is correct? Under RA 6975, as amended, a newly appointed PNP member serves a probationary period of 6 months in their initial assignment. However, the total period before a permanent appointment is extended, including the pre-appointment and initial training period, effectively covers 1 year, which is the commonly tested answer in Philippine Criminology board exams regarding the probationary period for PNP appointment purposes. The probationary period allows supervisors to assess a new member's fitness, character, and performance. Why the others are wrong. A. 6 months. While 6 months is the initial probationary period, this is not the full period before permanent appointment. The board exam standard answer for this specific question context is 1 year. C. 2 years. 2 years is not the prescribed probationary period under RA 6975 or RA 8551 for PNP members. This is an incorrect figure. D. 3 years. 3 years is not a prescribed probationary period under the law. This is a distractor. Edge knowledge. PNP probationary period equals 6 months initial plus up to 1 year total before permanent appointment. Standard board exam answer is 1 year. The concept of police visibility is primarily aimed at which of the following objectives? A. Increasing police income through traffic enforcement. B. Deterring crime through the presence of uniformed officers. C. Gathering intelligence on criminal networks. D. Improving the clearance rate of criminal cases. Correct answer. B. Deterring crime through the presence of uniformed officers. Why B is correct? Police visibility refers to the deliberate and strategic presence of uniformed police officers in public spaces. Its primary objective is deterrence, the theory that potential offenders will be discouraged from committing crimes when they see police officers present. Visibility programs such as foot patrols, checkpoints, and mobile patrols are designed to create the perception that the risk of being caught is high. Why the others are wrong. A. Increasing police income through traffic enforcement. Using police visibility for revenue generation would be considered misuse of police authority. The purpose of visibility is deterrence and public safety, not income generation. C. Gathering intelligence on criminal networks. Intelligence gathering involves surveillance, informant management, and covert operations, activities that are the opposite of visible policing. High visibility can actually compromise intelligence operations. D. Improving the clearance rate of criminal cases. Clearance rates relate to solving crimes after they occur, reactive policing. Visibility is a proactive strategy aimed at preventing crimes before they happen. Edge knowledge. Police visibility equals deterrence. Anything that says prevent crime by being seen equals this answer. It's proactive, not reactive. Question number 20. The formal written communication sent by a higher authority to guide the performance of functions and activities in a police organization is called a memorandum circular. B. Letter of instruction. C. Police operational procedure. D. Standard operating procedure, SOP. Correct answer. D. Standard Operating Procedure, SOP. Why D is correct? A Standard Operating Procedure, SOP, is a formal, written set of instructions that details the routine activities and functions of a police unit or officer. It standardizes how specific tasks are to be performed to ensure consistency, efficiency, and compliance. SOPs serve as operational guidelines that all personnel are expected to follow in carrying out their duties. Why the others are wrong? A memorandum circular. A memorandum circular is a directive issued to inform or instruct personnel about policies, rules, or procedures. It is broader and more policy-oriented, while SOPs are specifically operational instructions for performing tasks. B. Letter of instruction. A letter of instruction is typically issued by a higher officer to give specific directions for a particular operation or event. It is task-specific and temporary, not a general standing procedure. C. Police Operational Procedure. This refers to the general framework for police field operations, e.g., PNP Revised POP, which is a broader manual. SOPs are more specific to routine unit functions. Edge knowledge. Guides routine performance of functions plus standardizes activities equals SOP. SOPs are about day-to-day operations. Think of them as the manual for police work. Question number 21. During a police operation in Quezon City, SPO-1 Cruz ordered his team to form a perimeter around a building where a suspect was holed up. This action is an example of which type of police deployment? A. Patrolling. B. Containment. C. Cordon and search. D. Rapid deployment. Correct answer. B. Containment. Why B is correct? Containment is a tactical police operation in which officers establish a perimeter around an area, such as a building or block, to prevent a suspect from escaping while negotiations, assault, or further action is being planned. In the scenario, SPO-1 Cruz established a perimeter, which is the defining characteristic of containment. It is a standard tactical response to barricade situations and hostage incidents. Why the others are wrong? A. Patrolling. Patrolling involves moving through an area to maintain a visible presence and deter crime. It is routine and preventive, not a tactical response to an active suspect situation. C. Cordon and search. Cordon and search involves establishing a perimeter, cordon, and then conducting a systematic search within that perimeter for persons or contraband. The scenario only describes forming the perimeter, not conducting a search. D. Rapid deployment. Rapid deployment refers to the quick mobilization of police forces to respond to emergencies. While rapid deployment may have led to the containment, the act of forming the perimeter itself is the containment. Edge knowledge. Forming a perimeter around a building, area equals containment. If the next step is searching inside, then it becomes cordon and search. Question number 22. The leadership style where the leader makes all decisions alone without consulting subordinates is called A. Democratic leadership. B. Laissez-faire leadership. C. Autocratic leadership. D. Transformational leadership. Correct answer. C. Autocratic leadership. Why C is correct? Autocratic, authoritarian, leadership is characterized by the leader making all decisions unilaterally, exercising strict control over subordinates, and requiring compliance without encouraging input or participation. In police organizations, autocratic leadership may be necessary in emergency or high-risk situations where quick, decisive decisions are needed. However, it can reduce morale and creativity if overused. Why the others are wrong? A democratic leadership. In democratic, participative leadership, the leader involves subordinates in the decision-making process and values their input. This is the opposite of autocratic leadership. B. Laissez-faire leadership. Laissez-faire leadership is characterized by minimal supervision and the greatest degree of freedom given to subordinates to make their own decisions. It is the most hands-off style. D. Transformational leadership. Transformational leaders inspire and motivate followers by creating a vision and fostering commitment to organizational change and improvement. It focuses on inspiration, not unilateral control. Edge knowledge. Leader decides alone, No consultation equals autocratic. Leader consults subordinates equals democratic. Leader lets subordinates decide equals laissez-faire. Question number 23. Which of the following best describes the term beat in police patrol operations? A. The schedule of a police officer's working hours. B. A geographic area assigned to a police officer for patrol. C. The number of arrests made by an officer per shift. D. The distance covered by a mobile patrol unit in 1 hour. Correct answer. B. A geographic area assigned to a police officer for patrol. Why B is correct? In police operations, a beat refers to the specific geographic area or territory assigned to a patrol officer as his area of responsibility. The officer is expected to know the community, maintain order, prevent crime, and respond to calls within that beat. Effective beat management is fundamental to community policing, as it builds familiarity and trust between the officer and residents. Why the others are wrong? A. The schedule of a police officer's working hours. The schedule or tour of duty of a police officer is called a shift, e.g., day shift, night shift, not a beat. Beat is about location, not time. C. The number of arrests made by an officer per shift. This describes a performance metric, arrest quota or output, not the definition of a beat. Beat refers to territory. D. The distance covered by a mobile patrol unit in 1 hour. This describes an operational performance measure for mobile patrol. A beat is an assigned geographic area, not a measurement of distance traveled. Edge knowledge. Beat equals assigned geographic area. Think of it as the officer's territory. If the question is about place, area, it's a beat. Question number 24. The total number of PNP regional offices, PROs, currently constituting the PNP's regional structure in the Philippines is A. 15, B. 17, C. 18, D. 20. Correct answer. C. 18. Why C is correct? The PNP is organized into 18 police regional offices, PROs, corresponding to the 18 administrative regions of the Philippines, regions 1 through 13, plus CAR, BARMM, NCR, NIR, Region 18, and Region 4A and 4B counted separately. The PROs are responsible for police operations within their respective regions and report to the national headquarters. Why the others are wrong? A. 15. The Philippines previously had fewer regions and PROs. With the creation of new regions such as NIR, Negros Island Region, Region 18, and the BARMM, the count has increased to 18. B. 17. This figure corresponds to an earlier count before the creation of the 18th region. As of current structure, it is 18 PROs. D. 20. The Philippines does not have 20 administrative regions. Therefore, there cannot be 20 PROs. This is an inflated distractor. Edge knowledge. Philippines equals 18 regions equals 18 PROs. Memorize. The number of PNP regional offices equals the number of administrative regions of the Philippines. Question number 25. The philosophy of policing that holds that the police are the public and the public are the police, emphasizing mutual cooperation and shared responsibility for public safety, is attributed to A. August Vollmer, B. O. W. Wilson, C. Robert Peel, D. J. Edgar Hoover. Correct answer. C. Robert Peel. Why C is correct? Sir Robert Peel, the founder of modern policing who established the Metropolitan Police of London in 1829, articulated the famous principle, the police are the public and the public are the police. Peel's 9 principles of policing emphasized that the police derive their legitimacy from public consent and that maintaining public favor and trust is essential. These principles laid the groundwork for community-oriented policing worldwide, including in the Philippines. Why the others are wrong? A. August Vollmer. Vollmer is known as the father of modern American law enforcement who professionalized police agencies in the U.S., pioneered the use of forensics and college education for police officers. He did not articulate the police or the public philosophy. B. O. W. Wilson. Wilson was a pioneer in police administration and authored the textbook Police Administration. He focused on organizational efficiency and management science, not community policing philosophy. D. J. Edgar Hoover. Hoover was the long-serving director of the FBI known for building federal law enforcement. He was associated with centralized, aggressive enforcement, the opposite of community-oriented policing philosophy. Edge knowledge. Police are the public, public are the police equals Robert Peel, always. This is one of the most commonly cited quotes in Philippine Criminology board exams. Question number 26. The principle which states that authority is delegated but responsibility cannot be delegated means that a superior may give authority to a subordinate but remains ultimately accountable for results. B. A subordinate can be held responsible for the acts of his superior. C. Only the president can delegate authority in the executive branch. D. Responsibility is transferable when authority is granted. Correct answer. A. A superior may give authority to a subordinate but remains ultimately accountable for results. Why A is correct? This is the foundational principle of accountability in delegation. While a manager can delegate authority, the right to make decisions, to a subordinate, the superior cannot delegate accountability. They remain ultimately responsible for the outcomes of those delegated tasks. In police administration, this means a commander who delegates an operation to a subordinate officer remains responsible if things go wrong. Why the others are wrong? B. A subordinate can be held responsible for the acts of his superior. This reverses the accountability principle. A subordinate is responsible for his own actions. The superior retains ultimate accountability for overall results. Subordinates do not bear the superior's accountability. C. Only the president can delegate authority in the executive branch. This is factually incorrect. Delegation of authority operates at all levels of an organization. Any supervisor may delegate appropriate authority to subordinates. D. Responsibility is transferable when authority is granted. This directly contradicts the principle. The principle explicitly states that responsibility cannot be delegated even when authority is. They are not transferred together. Edge knowledge. The key phrase is authority can be delegated, responsibility cannot. The superior always retains ultimate accountability. This is a classic exam principle. Question number 27. Under RA 6975, the PNP shall be headed by a chief who shall be appointed by the President of the Philippines upon recommendation of the A. Secretary of Interior and Local Government. B. NAPOLCOM. C. Senate Committee on Public Order and Safety. D. Civil Service Commission. Correct answer. A. Secretary of Interior and Local Government. Why A is correct? Under RA 6975, as amended, the chief of the PNP is appointed by the President of the Philippines upon the recommendation of the Secretary of the Interior and Local Government, SILG. The SILG exercises administrative supervision over the PNP through the NAPOLCOM, and the power to recommend the chief PNP flows through the SILG to the President. Why the others are wrong? B. NAPOLCOM. NAPOLCOM exercises administrative control and supervision over the PNP and handles promotions, but the recommendation for chief PNP appointment goes through the SILG, not NAPOLCOM directly. C. Senate Committee on Public Order and Safety. The Senate Committee handles legislation and oversight but does not have the power to recommend presidential appointments to the executive branch's law enforcement agencies. D. Civil Service Commission. The CSC handles civil service rules and personnel management for government employees generally. Appointment of the chief PNP is a presidential prerogative with a specific recommending authority under RA 6975. Edge knowledge. Chief PNP, appointed by the President upon recommendation of the SILG. Remember the two-step process. SILG recommends to President appoints. Question number 28. The law that institutionalized the Integrated Transformation Program, ITP, of the PNP, aiming to professionalize and modernize the organization, is ARA 6975, BRA 8551, CRA 9708, DEO 546. Correct answer. CRA 9708. Why C is correct. Republic Act No. 9708 extended and amended certain provisions of RA 8551, particularly those related to the waiver of certain height and weight requirements and the PNP's transformation program. It is associated with the PNP's Integrated Transformation Program, ITP, which aimed at professionalizing the organization through reforms in recruitment, training, equipment, and command systems. Why the others are wrong. ARA 6975. This is the founding law of the PNP. It established the PNP structure but predated the ITP reforms. B. RA 8551. The PNP Reform and Reorganization Act of 1998 was a major reform law, but the ITP is specifically associated with the subsequent amendments and programs under RA 9708, DEO 546. Executive Order 546 created the Ministry of Public Works and MNLF integration measures. It is not related to PNP transformation programs. Edge knowledge. PNP Transformation, Modernization, Professionalization Program equals RA 9708. Think of it as the upgrade law that came after RA 8551. Question number 29. A police officer who takes money from a motorist in exchange for not issuing a traffic violation ticket is committing which specific act? A. Grave misconduct. B. Bribery. C. Extortion. D. Dishonesty. Correct answer. B. Bribery. Why B is correct. Bribery occurs when a public officer receives, demands, or agrees to receive money, gifts, or other valuable consideration in exchange for an official act or the omission of an act that is part of his official duty. In this scenario, the police officer received money in exchange for not issuing a ticket, a classic definition of bribery under the Revised Penal Code, Article 210, and also a grave offense under PNP administrative law. Why the others are wrong. A grave misconduct. While bribery may be classified as a form of grave misconduct administratively, the specific criminal act described is bribery. Grave misconduct is an administrative classification, not the specific offense being asked. C. Extortion. Extortion involves compelling someone to give money or property through intimidation, threat, or coercion. In this scenario, the motorist voluntarily gave money to avoid a ticket. There was no threat or coercion used by the officer. That distinction makes it bribery, not extortion. D. Dishonesty. Dishonesty is an administrative offense involving deceitfulness or concealment of truth. While the officer is being dishonest, the specific criminal act committed is bribery, which is a more precise and accurate answer. Edge knowledge. Bribery equals officer receives money for an act or omission, voluntary from both sides. Extortion equals officer demands money through threats. The motorist's voluntary payment makes this bribery. Question number 30. The organized, regular movement of police personnel from one assignment to another within the police organization for purposes of training, preventing corruption, and enhancing organizational effectiveness is called a reassignment. B. Transfer. C. Rotation. D. Secondment. Correct answer. C. Rotation. Why C is correct. Rotation in police administration refers to the systematic and planned movement of police officers from one post, unit, or assignment to another at regular intervals. Its primary purposes include 1. Broadening the skills and experience of officers, 2. Preventing the development of corrupt relationships between officers and the community or criminal elements, and 3. Improving overall organizational efficiency by placing the right people in the right positions. Why the others are wrong. A reassignment. Reassignment is the transfer of a police officer to a different unit or post, but it is typically done for specific reasons, disciplinary, operational need, request, and is not necessarily systematic or regular in nature. It lacks the periodic, planned character of rotation. B. Transfer. Transfer refers to the movement of a police officer from one organizational unit to another, generally at the officer's request or due to operational requirements. It is not necessarily regular or systematically planned like rotation. Secondment. Secondment refers to the temporary assignment of a police officer to another government agency or organization, outside the PNP, while retaining his PNP status and benefits. It is interagency, not an internal rotation. Edge knowledge. Regular plus planned plus movement between assignments plus prevent corruption equals rotation. The key distinguishing word is regular. It happens on a scheduled basis, which is what separates rotation from reassignment.
If this video gave you an edge, sharpen that like button and subscribe to stay ahead.